Ratcliffe sends a message to those at Manchester United about his plans for the club, his vision, and exactly why he is here. Fabrizio Romano drops a big Man United transfer update and speaks about deals that could happen in January, the striker situation, among more. Man United looking at centre-backs, they're looking at strikers, they're looking at a number of players. Ratcliffe wants to bring in 4 players in the summer and obviously a striker on loan in January. And then we're going to just talk about other general transfer news that's come along, takeover plans, investment and more. So please do hit that like button if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. So let's dive into the first story, and this is about Ratcliffe. So Ratcliffe has visited Old Trafford a couple of times. He went to the match recently. He went and spoke to the press. He then came in and met the Manchester United supporters trust. He's been meeting some of the supporters groups, and he's been having conversations with them about his idea, his plans, and doing fan forums and stuff. And sort of what was he saying in these meetings? What was he saying to staff? What was he saying? What's sort of been said in those meetings? It was said by James Ducker during discussions with fan representatives. Jim Ratcliffe stressed that his objective in taking a stake in Man United is not to make money and that everything must be focused on creating winning teams on the field. So Ratcliffe wanted to make it clear he's not another Glazer. He's not here to make money. He wants us to win. Now, the frustration is that Ratcliffe has enabled the Glazers to stay, and we want a full sale. And I think the big question mark should be, will you eventually be able to buy the club? But as said multiple times, Ineos make more money than United. Ineos bring in like over 10 times more revenue than Man United. So if he does want to take out money, he doesn't need to take it out of Man United. He can take it out of Ineos and he can invest money in United, which is the positive, and that's something that the Glazers cannot do. Now, Ratcliffe also said in a meeting with Manchester United staff, it was said by Mike Keegan, that Sergeant Ratcliffe told staff his job was to address the performance gap and return United to the top of the world. The reaction to those present was positive. Ratcliffe's come in and he's given a speech saying, look, I'm here to bring United back to the top, address the performance gap. We've got sporting control. I'm not interested in making money out of United, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. I'm here to invest and take us back to the top. And while Ratcliffe's intentions are believed to be good, and it's said that his intentions are good, at the end of the day, he's only got 25%. The Glazers still have the other control. So I think that while Ratcliffe will want to do things to take us back to the top and he'll want to bring in Paul Mitchell and Dan Ashworth and get United back on track, there is the fear, well, the Glazers are still here. The Glazers are still going to get to have a say on how much we spend in the window and all of that, which I think is probably the worrying concern. That I think Ratcliffe's intentions are good, but the question mark is the Glazers are still here. We know what the Glazers are like. They could stop us doing stuff at the end of the day. It was also said on the takeover by Fabrizio Romano that the director of football is the real focus at the moment for Ineos. Dan Ashworth, who Man United want at the end of the winter window, Ineos will really try and make this happen. And it's been said by The Athletic, it's been said by numerous sources, United are super focused on Dan Ashworth. It's going to be a difficult deal to do because he's at Newcastle, he's happy at Newcastle, but United are going to go all out and see if they can tempt Dan Ashworth to be part of the new project. And that's been said by pretty much everyone reliable. That is Ineos's focus right now. They're not really bothered about the January window. They'd rather get the structure in place, like a Dan Ashworth or Paul Mitchell in place. So any money they do spend in the summer will be spent by the right people, not the people that spent 85 million on Anthony, 60 million on Mason Mount, etc. It was also said that Sergeant Ratcliffe's investment is set to substantially increase Manchester United's ability to buy players in the summer without breaching FFP rules, and United are blocking a big kickstart to the Ratcliffe era. Because Ratcliffe's invested, I think, an extra 90 million into the club, we can go 105 million over the FFP boundary instead of 15 million. So Manchester United this summer, if they don't spend and they start using the FFP excuse, it'll be a load of BS because of Ratcliffe's investment. Ratcliffe's investment means that we can actually spend this summer without crying and whinging about FFP. Now, talking of spending, talking of transfers, it's sort of been said that Ratcliffe in the summer would like to bring in 4 transfers, a right winger, a striker, a centre-back and a centre-mid, and then right-back's also been linked there. So what could happen in terms of January transfers, though? Because we know ahead of the January window, the only thing that's really likely to happen would be a striker deal and a striker deal on loan. And we did look at Werner, and while I didn't want Werner, I think the reason we didn't get Werner is kind of embarrassing. It was said that Man United will try to make something happen in terms of loan opportunities. When they knew that Werner would cost 5 million euros, they left the conversation. Now, I'm glad we didn't get Werner. I'm glad we didn't overspend on Werner and all of that. But it seems that like we're ridiculously broke. We can't even do a 5 million euro loan deal. That is the worrying thing. It's saying, Romano saying United want to make something happen on loan in January. They want to bring in a striker on loan to help out Højlund. They looked at Werner, but they left the combo. It's 5 million euros. Donny Marlin is now too expensive. Romano saying it's like, well, what can we afford in January? You know, are we going to have to get someone worse than Werner in because that's what we can afford? Because then we might as well just keep with Martial and to the end of the season and not force him out. It was said that the striker position is the position United want to cover by Romano in January, and he said nothing is advanced with Martial leaving. And I think Man United are playing it cool because Martial's here. I think if Martial leave, United would be willing to spend a bit more money bringing a striker in on loan. But Romano said the Marlin deal is too expensive. It's a player Man United appreciate and have excellent relationship with. People close to the player say, but it's probably expensive. So again, Romano is saying United want to bring someone in on loan. United want to bring a striker in on loan. He's confirmed that we want to bring someone in on loan. But he's saying, you know, this player and that player is too expensive. Marlin and Werner, two players that we don't want, are also too expensive. So does that mean we're going to get someone worse? I feel like that is the worrying thing there. It was also said on attacking transfers, because Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand and did a big update, that there is a lot of interest in Pelistri. There's a lot of clubs interested in Pelistri, and PSV want a loan but still no agreement or advanced negotiations. As far as I'm aware from information that I've heard myself, Manchester United will let Pelistri go out on loan right at the end of the January window. They want to wait until like January 29th to approve Pelistri going out on loan because they just want to make sure no more injuries happen within the squad. We're not losing anyone else and all of that as well. And then it was also said in terms of players that could leave permanently that PSG still really appreciate Rashford, but no internal conversation at the moment is happening. PSG waiting to hear about Mbappe's future. There was a lot of reports of PSG going in for Rashford last summer, the summer before. We know Poch was a big fan of Marcus Rashford. We know that with Mbappe going, they see Marcus Rashford as sort of a replacement there. And some people might laugh at that. We can never actually replace Mbappe, but Rashford has that output. He can get 30 goals. He can be good. When Rashford is good, he's good. It's just when he's bad, he's bad. And I think that Rashford is overhated by a fan base. I don't think he's been good enough this season. Walking around has been unacceptable. But there's a quality player in Rashford. I think he's way overhated by a fan base. Now, talking of ones to watch, because this is a player that United have been linked with a few times, but it said that United have already inquired about a possible transfer for Joshua Zirkzee, but now Bogana weren't ready to let him go. He can leave in the summer. He has a release clause of 35 million. So this is one to watch in the summer. They won't let him go in January, but Man United are looking at Joshua Zirkzee. Good young player, good potential, Dutch, so no surprise he's linked to Manchester United. And I made a video on him before and his sort of potential, and I think this could be one to keep an eye on in the summer. But I think the main priority in the summer, I still feel like, is getting that centre-back in, because it feels like Varane's going to go, one of Lindelof and Maguire's going to go, and I think United's sort of focus now is on centre-back transfers. And the interesting thing is, Jared Branthwaite could be a little bit cheaper with Everton's FFP struggle. Now, Jared Branthwaite, it was said by TalkSport, and he's been linked to United by multiple sources, very reliable sources, is high on Sergeant Ratcliffe's summer list. Everton faced being forced to sell him in the summer to avoid further financial issues. I really like Jared Branthwaite. I didn't know a lot about him at the beginning of the season when we were first linked to him sort of in August time. But when I've watched Everton this season, I'm going to be honest with you, and I've spoken about Amadou Onana a lot, but when I've watched Everton this season, Jared Branthwaite's looked like their best or second best player. I think Amadou Onana has been their fourth or fifth best player. I think Jared Branthwaite's been their first or second best player. He's been very good. He's 21. He's got experience at PSV. He's got experience at England, and I think he can play left centre back, he can play right centre back. He's not as mobile, but I think he's someone that I'm open to. I think ideally as a right centre-back, it will be Todibo and Antonio Silva. But as a left centre-back coming in, if we're selling Varane and we're selling Lindelof and we replace them with Todibo and Branthwaite, or Silva and Branthwaite, I do think that would be good business from United. I wasn't sure at first when we were first linked to him. I thought, is he another Maguire? Is he another English overrated player? But I've been happy with him when I've watched him. I think he looks good. I think he looks comfortable. And I think he looks like someone with a lot of potential. And it was also said with Manchester United and, of course, centre-backs that Benfica's Antonio Silva and Lille's Lenny Euro are top centre-back targets for United as well. They've also been linked to a few other clubs. Antonio Silva would be a great addition for Manchester United, but the question mark is funding-wise. Could we afford that? I think it might be expensive when I know that Ratcliffe's going to invest a lot and we've got a lot of money to spend in the summer, but I think we want maybe two centre-backs, a midfielder, a right-back, a right-winger and a striker. Are we going to be able to afford Lenny Euro and Antonio Silva in the 70 million range when you've got Todibo potentially in the 40 million range? So to sum up today's video, it's a bit embarrassing that United can't seem to afford any loan deal strikers, but Romano did say that United do want to do business for a striker on loan. Ratcliffe has met those at Man United and given a bit of a speech and a chat to people. Man United are linked to a numerous amount of names, but then nothing's really going to happen in January. I think lots will happen in the summer, but I think what to keep an eye out for is the Paul Mitchell, Dan Ashworth news and how that develops over the coming days. Please do hit that like button on your way out. Thank you for watching. Bye.